Hello, welcome back Year 4. So you should have completed everything on the sheet up to question 9, okay? And these are my hints and tips for question 9. Okay, so you can see along the board I've written the equivalent decimal for the fractions that we just literally need to learn and remember. So a quarter is the same as 0.25, half is the same as 0.5, and 3/4 is the same as 0.75. And all our fractions and missing fractions and decimals are going to be linked to these common sort of examples, okay? So 2/4 is the same as what decimal? All right, so when we're thinking, if you're not sure what we're doing, okay, we can draw it as a bar model. So we know that the denominator of the fraction tells us how many parts are in a whole. All right, and I'm going to divide my first bar in half and my second bar into quarters. Okay. And then straight away you should be able to see that 2/4 is the same as a half. Okay, and a half as a decimal is 0.5. Okay, so here is 9b. So we have the fraction 5/20ths. All right, and we need to work out the decimal equivalent. Okay, so I know that my whole is worth 20. Okay, slightly different this time in a sense. All right, and my second bar, I know that the fraction that I have, the numerator, tells me it is worth 5. So what I want to know is how many groups of 5 go into this bar, okay? All right, so I do 20 divided by 5, right? If you can't see it, something multiplied by 5 is 20. Okay, so you should know that 4 times 5 is 20 and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So this bar is divided into 4 groups. Okay, right, so that means each 5 that is in the bar, in this bar, is worth a quarter. Okay, and then from our decimals you should be able to see what a quarter is worth. Right, so 0.25. Okay, here we go again. So we need to know what decimal is the same as 21/28. Looks really horrible, but if we start to work systematically using a bar model, okay, so we know that the denominator of the fraction tells us how big the whole thing is. So it's 28. All right, and I know that I've got to know what 21 of them are. Okay, now I have to do some testing with my numbers here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is work out what a half is the same as, and half of 28, I'll do half of 20 and half of 8. So half of 20 is 10, half of 8 is 4. So a half is the same as 14. Okay, and then I'm actually going to work out what my quarter, let's just find out what my quarter is worth. Okay, so I've got to divide those 14s in half again, and half of 14 is 7. So a quarter is the same as 7. Okay, and I know that I've got 21. Okay, so if we count up in sevens, it goes 7, 14, 21, 28. So I know that I have this many quarters, so 3 quarters. And if I'm looking for my decimal, it's the same as 0.75. Okay, so 21/28 is actually the same as 3 quarters, right, which is the same as 0.75. Okay. Okay, here we go, 9D. 0.25 is the same as something over 24. Looks horrible, don't be scared. Okay, all right, because we're going to use our understanding of bar models to help us. Okay, so we know again that the whole of the fraction is 24, okay, and in our second bar I need to know what 0.25 is, and 0.25 is actually a quarter, okay, because that's what we worked out before. So in my second bar I'm going to divide that bar into quarters, okay. So what we have to do is take our 24 and divide it into 4 equal parts. So 24 divided by 4. Okay, if you can't see it, something multiplied by 4 is the same as 24. And then we can go up in our groups of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So 6 times 4 is 24. And this is 24 divided by 4 is 6. So each quarter is worth 6. And so this is 6 over 24. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So again, we're looking for our numerator, our missing numerator here. Okay, all right, so something over 68 is the same as 0.5, and we know that 0.5 is the same as a half. So what is the missing numerator that goes here? Some of you will be able to tell me straight away, all right, but if I draw my bar model, okay, all right, it helps us think and see the numbers. 68, and I know that 0.5 is the same as a half, so I've just got to divide my next bar into 2 equal parts. Okay, and then I'm looking for half of 68. Well, I know that half of 60 is 30 and half of 8 is 4. Okay, so half is the same as 34 and half is the same as 34. Okay, so my missing value of my numerator is 34. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, last one. Right, so 0.75 is the same as something over 400, and it looks really, really horrible, but as soon as I draw it as a bar model, you'll be able to see it straight away, I think. 0.75 is the same as, look, is the same as a 3/4. Okay, so here we go. All right, so our whole of our denominator is 400. Okay, and I know that this bar I'm going to divide into quarters because 0.75 is the same as 3/4. Okay, so here I go dividing it into quarters. All right, let's move that one over slightly. Okay, so we know that we've got to divide now 400 divided by into 4 equal groups. Okay, if you can't see that, oh, you literally can't see that. If you can't see what the value would be here, if we think of something multiplied by 4 equals 400, then hopefully most of you will be able to tell me that that will be 100 4 times is the same as 400. Right, so our missing value here is 100, so each quarter is worth 100. And we know that we need 3/4 because 0.75 is the same as 3/4. Okay, so I'm just going to rub that bit out again. All right, and so we need, so that quarter is worth 100, that quarter is worth 100, and that quarter is worth 100. So 3/4 is the same as 300. So our missing numerator is 300. Okay. Well done, you've worked really, really hard. That was tricky maths today, okay? And we will do more practice over that in year 4. Okay, lesson ends.